So when you're looking for the perfect candidate for Glow, what are you looking for, and how do you attract the right person?
One thing I really try to do now is check myself. Am I seeing potential in this person? Am I asking the right questions? Like, the right questions are they coachable? Are they willing to train? Are they willing to be part of a team? And then at the end of the day, I have two other team members that would, interview them to make sure that I wasn't just all excited about the potential of who this person can be, but actually who they are, where they are now.
What's unique about Shelley, Nicole, which I'm super excited, is that we spend a lot of time together um, in this industry. We literally grew up together as an adult, as mothers, as partners. She's been there for me in my tough times as an entrepreneur. I've been there for her, and we can talk to each other. Many times as CEOs and founders, when you're kind of on running the show, it's pretty lonely there. You can't really talk to your husband all the time. You can't speak to your partner all the time. You can't talk to your parents because they don't get you. Even your friends, if they're not entrepreneurs, Nicole, they just
They're not
don't
gonna
get.
get you. They're just not
You're
gonna get
not
you.
in the journey. They just don't get you. So you always need somebody in your court that gets you. So this is who she's been for me. And she's just so brilliant at the way she's running things. So I can't wait to share her successes. There's a lot of great things here. We're going to talk about recruiting, hiring, um, how to keep an employee forever, and how to identify what staff member or investor you want to do, what other businesses that you can grow to, and when you should grow to. So I'm looking forward because this episode that we recorded was phenomenal.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. And you're right about Shelley. She is somebody, I mean, she's a founder of Glow Beauty Boutique. She's a business coach, she's a wellness industry leader, but she's so much more. She's an amazing friend. She's such an amazing support. She goes with us to events. She's there for our clients. And no matter what she's doing, she's all in and she goes above and beyond. But, some of the things that she does is, she's the founder owner of Glow Beauty Boutique, and that's an award winning spa and wellness brand in the Boston area. And that's where you guys met, right?
Yeah, yeah, and she owns three businesses. She runs three companies, which is extraordinary. She's a mother. She's a breast cancer survivor.
Yeah, she's
Uh,
done so much.
yeah, a big
A
philanthropist.
Reiki master, a licensed esthetician. There's nothing that she hasn't done, and if she finds out that there's something she hasn't done, she's probably gonna tackle it, and
Probably
she's done a
gonna.
lot, but she's totally gonna do it, and she's been awarded through Glow so many things, Salon Today Top 200, we just celebrated that again, recently, national awards for growth, customer service, profitability, branding, she's I think it's been more than a decade that she's received that award.
Exactly.
And SCORE, Massachusetts Business of the Year, or the Stamp Award. I mean, just tons of awards. She'll never stop learning. She'll never stop growing, and she'll never stop empowering her team to lead. So she's just brought for us an amazing episode, some great nuggets that you guys are going to love.
Hey everyone, so good to be here with everyone here today. And today I'm super stoked to have you, Shelley, on our call. Nicole, that was such an amazing introduction. But literally, how much do we love Shelley?
Oh, thank you.
Yes, it's such a pleasure to have you here, Shane. So
Thank you for having
excited.
me.
Yay.
Yeah, it's been really great. But I really want to start going right into it by asking you, Shelley, before we dive into any kind of um, featuring your success as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a CEO, as a founder, and somebody who literally escalated their growth over the years as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter, that point where everything seems to be it's just I'll never make it, I'll never get through this. What was that hardest time? that really challenged you to think it's either I'm I'm not gonna get through this?
I'm gonna take it back before that actually, briefly, because I feel like I was a product of the '80s, right? So it was you have to go to school. You can't be a cosmetologist. Sure you can, but if something happens to your back, your hands, you have to go to college, you have to go to school. So the deal with my parents was you can do anything you want after you get your degree, right? So I went to school and my first 2 years was down in Florida. And then I liked the sun a little bit too much. And I liked the boys and the partying and everything else a little bit too much. But most of all, I missed the Northeast. So, but when I came back, it was like, you still have to get your 4 year degree, but we're not paying for it. Okay. So fast forward, I find I have to go to school. I have to figure out how to pay for it, and I have to do well, right? I mean, I always did well in school anyways. So I got a job where I worked about 32 hours a week in Boston, downtown Boston, and they paid 80% of school. And I went to BU at night, 4 nights a week for 2.5 years, year round, to get my degree, to finish. And I feel like fast forwarding that, that gave me, if you really want something, right? If you're really focused and you want it and you want to prove it to yourself and you follow the plan, right? School, you don't get that degree unless you take this class that gets you to that class and that class that gets you to this class and that class to complete this to get the piece of paper, right? Well, when you're in business, you have to, like, that's the business plan or your strategic plan, whatever it is in your head, you have to follow it to get to where you're going. And a lot of people get tired, they get distracted, they don't keep their eye on the prize. And for me, that was a really hard time. I mean, I remember sometimes friends going out and me be like, "Yep, I'm going out," and, like, falling asleep flat on my face, like, on the couch, them banging on my door and, like, throwing rocks at the window, like, "Are you coming?" And me being like, "Oh my god, I'm exhausted. I can't go anywhere." Right? So, bring that to business.
And what age was that?
Mm, 21 maybe? 21 years old?
Okay, and that was when you were 21, okay?
Oh, yeah, and on top of it, I couldn't live
Okay,
back home. I
21.
couldn't live back home either. So on top of it, I had to make rent, make my food, food shop, pay my utilities, pay for school, you know what I mean? Go to work, go to school, get it, I mean, just get it all done. That was it, right? And, I I think, my parents knew I could do it. I just had to value what I was doing. That's the other thing. You have to value and want and let it be proving something to yourself or others or whatever it is. You have to really dig in and jump into it. So then with business, um I remember getting my aesthetics license and building a clientele and every day writing in, like, what did I make for tips and how many clients did I have? Like, really saying, like, how much am I making hourly? Because I was from that corporate background, right? Like, am I making more money, less money? How can I make the same amount of money to make sure that I can take care of myself, right? Let it be health insurance, 401k, Roth IRA. Because again, I came from a business that was providing all this for me. I wanted to make sure I could provide it for myself. So fast forward to when I was creating my first business, Glow Beauty Boutique in Braintree, which has been around for 23 years, which I'm very blessed for. I remember just crunching those numbers, crunching and crunching and crunching. Like how many people have to walk in the door? How many people have to come in every day to like make my rent, make my utilities, put money in my pocket? And I was open 7 days a week. It was only me and one part-time employee. And there was no other option. It was gonna work. I had to pay off the machine I bought because that was when airbrush tanning first came out. And so, I bought the location first, last security, build out a $65,000 machine, all the equipment in the back room. And that was it. It was go time and I was going and I don't like debt. So everything had to make sense, financially.
And so it is. These are all, the challenges that we have. This episode is sponsored by Salon Cadence, the only global advisory network helping salon and spa and med spa CEOs scale to 7 and 8 figures without a burnout. This is not a do it yourself program. This is do it with you and for you. From profit first system to team run leadership. First, we fix the numbers, then we create the wealth. Then we will focus on CEO mindset and we build the process with your team to give you the ultimate freedom to become the true CEO and visionary you are. We have helped thousands grow widely successful for freedom driven companies in beauty, wellness, and regenerative medicine. If you're ready to grow, scale, and live a wealthy life, visit saloncadence.com. Now, one of the most important things that you can invest in and not do it yourself, I highly recommend mysalonbooks.com. Salon owners that are tired of never knowing if you're actually profitable or where your money is going, on what your money is doing for you or against you. The team at My Salon Books takes the stress off your plate. They are specialized in salon booking, providing real time insight and financial clarity so you can focus on what you do best, running a thriving salon. Here at Salon Cadence, we recommend mysalonbooks.com. It is the only bookkeeping management that utilizes the profit first the right way. So go to mysalonbooks.com to learn more and get free evaluation of your own books. But then there's that time that things are going really well. You've been successful. You gain a lot of wins. But I am sure for every win, there's another story of a failure or
Of
another
course.
story of a
Yeah.
hardship. So go back to that time where you hit time in your running your business, running your company, trying to grow, trying to scale, do all the right things. And then something happens that, you know, that literally you thought, how am I ever going to survive through this?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably gonna be the cliche answer because I call it the C word, right? Not the bad C word, but the other C word called COVID, right? And Nicole and I were kind of talking off camera before. There's a few words, I don't know why, that I have a visceral effect to, that go right up me. And for whatever reason, when people mention COVID, maybe because the emotional attachment to it, I'm like, oh, do we have to mention that word? But there was patterns in my business beforehand, right? People kind of checking out, me wondering what mood people were going to come in. I don't know, probably some cultural issues. So, you go through the whole experience of the pandemic and trying to keep your team together and realizing through Zooms and a few distance meetings, do you really want all these people back, right? Do they really want to come back? And would you rehire them, right? Ronit said to me, says a lot, if you have the team you have today and you look at each and every individual person, would you rehire them? So at that moment, I wasn't being honest with myself, right? And I was just trying to survive and make sure I got back and we were there for the clients and they'd come back. So a big kick in the teeth was we did come back and I could see all the signs, and instead of having those critical conversations and me taking responsibility that things changed and sometimes people outgrow the space or they're just there for a season and a reason or um, you outgrow each other or, you need to let people go, whatever that may be, I held on too long. And because I held on too long, um, I kinda had a domino effect of some people leaving. So and they didn't leave all at once, and some of them will come in still today, you know what I mean? Come in, have a cup of coffee with the girls or whatever, and some others, it took a little while longer, or, you know, eh, disappeared because that happens too. But at the end of the day, I really should have showed up as a leader and took that time to say, how do I want things to be different, not just better in survival mode? I should have gotten deeper and said, how do I want to reemerge out of this? And it probably would have saved me a lot of headache and heartache for 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a hot topic right now because I feel like hiring and recruiting is just something I hear talked about constantly right now. Right, when we were just at Data Driven Salon Summit, it was one of the top things that people said that they needed help with. And so, you mentioned, would I go back and rehire some of these people? And the answer was no, you wouldn't. And you didn't pull the trigger quick enough. And you hear that people say, hire slow and fire fast, right? So when you're looking for the perfect candidate for Glow, what are you looking for, and how do you attract the right person? What do you put in place?
I tell you, it's a superpower, but also a fault of mine. I tend to see the potential in people, right? So, for example, I had somebody years and years ago that worked for me. Yep. Bubbly, look the right way, talk the right way.
You're Nicole, you're the same thing, we're always, I mean, we're all fault of this. We look at the
Yeah. I mean, she could sell ice to Eskimo. Like, I could have seen her honestly, she was so talented, not only with her skill, but her words and her everything. She could have gone to Hollywood. She could have been the makeup artist to the stars. She could have been, and, Anastasia at Beverly Hills. She could have been, I mean, really. But almost it was almost like not that I kept on telling her that, but because I saw the potential and I knew how well she could do, but emotionally and uh, her own sense of confidence and where she was and her background, she wasn't there, right? So when you talk about recruiting, one thing I really try to do now is check myself. Am I seeing the potential in this person? Am I asking the right questions? Like, the right questions are they coachable? Are they willing to train? Are they willing to be part of a team? All the things that are my values, right? Where we are glow. Not what I think or that I see. I have to hear it, right? And then, now there's all sorts of like Myers Briggs test and, circle the things that, give you the best description of your personality. So, there's a couple of different fail safes, like Shelley fail safes. And then at the end of the day, I have two other team members that would, interview them to make sure that I wasn't just all excited about the potential of who this person can be, but actually who they are, where they are now. And also, just taking that assessment quiz of like where their skills are at and, hands on stuff if we get to that next level. So I would say that's really big in recruiting. I don't just want a warm body. A warm body sucks energy, time, strains the culture, strains the piggy bank, hurts the clients. I would rather wait to get that right person to pour the time, energy into to really.
with this podcast or our show, it's Living a Profitable Life show. We're going to bring you so many great guests and lessons and teachings. So it's really is wonderful to have our partners, sponsors that helping us make this possible for everyone. But it is you who are going to make us better. So I'm asking you to always comment and let me know how was this episode? Was it helpful? What else would you like to learn? What else would you like to see? It's predicted within the next few years, this industry, this beautiful beauty industry around the world, is going to be growing by 8 to 10% incremental. That means opportunities to grow, to develop, to anything you want to be in this world. The thing is, the more you subscribe and share it with your friend, the more I can make this podcast be the best place for you. Any subject that you find is necessary, let us know. So please subscribe and help us get to at least 1,000 downloads. Once we get there, we'll celebrate. But for any of the audience, anybody who's looking to scale their company, it's vital and critical that you know exactly who you want to work with. I always take the analysis of, let's say you interviewing somebody, and with that somebody, you get stuck in an Uber for 2.5 hours, right? Do you relate to that person? Do you have something to talk to them? Can you see them talking to your ultimate clients? Like, really envision.
And really writing it down. Like my last one, I remember we were at Huddle and I said, all right, we're going to speak this into reality. We are going to manifest the best, you guys call it avatars, best employee ever, right? And we had a heart and everybody wrote wonderful things inside the heart, right? So that was like the boundary of all the qualities they wanted, right? And then on the outside with the qualities that they weren't looking for. Like, we wish you well, but well away from me of like calling out or coming in late or not dressing appropriately or hair and makeup a mess or talking with gum in them, all these little silly pet peeves that nobody wanted. And it was like a heart. And it was like, we're calling this to us. This is what we're looking for, And then the non-negotiables, right? Really identifying who that best person is.
Yeah. And I think that and I totally agree with that. And I think that like when somebody asks for the specific hiring method or recruiting method, what do you think is super important? uh, to put in the boundaries before you actually before you even start the process. And we talked about it today in our meeting. And and it was all about, well, first identify who you want to serve. Who's your client? Like when you go down, do you want to work with a clientele that are the demographic is 16 years old? Do you want to, because I remember asking that question, and a lot of funny people always say, whoever has the biggest ticket to pay me the most cash, I'll take it. I don't care who they are, what they look like. But at the end of the day, yeah, I understand. You want to make sure that you have clients that can pay the bill, for sure. But the second thing is like,
You want to enjoy them.
you wanna enjoy them, and you want to sell what? Like, and again, what is it that you wanna sell, and what is it that you wanna serve? Because if you're gonna serve to everyone, then you're not special at all, and if when you're not special at all, then you're not gonna attract the right people that you wanna work with, and if you don't know who you wanna work with, then you don't know who you wanna hire, period.
Right. 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 It's kinda like the BCEs, right? The best clients ever. When you're going through your book, you have to say, "Okay, I want you to pick 3 of your top people, not because of the amount of money they bring in, but why do you enjoy them?" And typically, it comes down to what? They resonate with the age or where they are in their life. Let it be a 30-something-year-old who may be just currently married, getting their first home, having a family, lots of events, bachelorette parties, weddings, things that are exciting. They get to share a lot of information. They have disposable income. They come in every, 4 to 7 weeks. The average service ticket is great. They always feel so good and have a good giggle with them. Like that could be one, right? Another one is, the empty nester mom, right? That just wants to really get grounded in their skincare and doing those higher end, like the injectables, the microneedling, the photofacials. They just all into wellness and yoga and eating right and you know, um, taking the supplements, and they're always coming in with such great information, and they're just energy and their vibe is amazing, right? So yeah, really trying to identify, because at the end of the day, it's how they feel when they're with you. And at the end of the day, it's how you feel when you're with them. And I called shaking the tree. Someone can be 80, 85% booked, right? Which we know what that means. That means you barely have time to shove food in your mouth and, maybe pee twice a day, right? But at the end of the day, sometimes shaking that apple tree of being like, "You know what? I don't want everybody. They're draining me. I'm tired. I want to like block myself out purposely to attract and get new people that fit more that BCE for me, where I'm at now, because who you were when you started isn't necessarily where you are now."
Exactly, exactly. And I think, you know, it comes down to, you said it's who you wanna work with for sure, but then again, it's like what values are important to you and that you're not gonna compromise. And so if you're going to look at if it's important to you to look, dressed for success, then that should be the dress for success. You can't teach that. You can't. If you're looking for somebody who is extremely you want to work with kindness, you have to look for somebody who's kindness. At Salon Cadence, we have stickler values that we don't compromise. Number one, they have to be naturally happy. Like immediately when immediately you're happy or you're not happy. And it don't have to be it's not an introvert or an extrovert. It's about naturally, are you happy? And so that's number one. The number second for us is how hungry from 1 till 10 to want to always learn and be better. Like
Mm.
how hungry are you to be better at all time to improve? So I'm not talking about confidence. I'm talking about somebody who constantly want to do things better
Yeah.
versus somebody who's getting comfortable and, you know,
Just wants to check in, check out. That's not, yeah, Salon Cadence or Globe. That would not be the right person. I
yeah.
exhaust them. Yeah.
So by knowing, let's say it's important to have 5 of those values, by just knowing those 2, you already eliminate and help your interview processes, right? Because right there. And so,
You know what
yeah,
it makes me think of, Renee? It makes me think of how you created that experience for our top clients in Ann Maria Island. where it was them telling their story. And so early on in this episode, Shelley was telling her story about being a young woman and having to go out and create this life for herself. And so I'm curious, Shelley, if you like what point, whether it be like in the hiring, recruiting, interviewing, or like once they're onboarded, do you actually like share your story, like share how you got to where you are, and set that up? Because I feel like it would totally, even today, resonate with the younger generation, your staff, to share what it took for you to get to where you are.
Hmm. I don't think I've shared it in a long time, actually, now that you mentioned that. I think, with the people that I was with, I think you get used to it and you just, you connect with them in a different level because you're building up something together, right? Each hire is something new and you're growing and you're learning and you're educating together and you're thirsty, kind of like what Ronit said. I feel like that's a really good point, Nicole, because I feel like now I'm almost not arm's length, but I almost keep myself a little bit more arm's length. Um, and I know they know that I'm hardworking because I show up and I do. But yeah, I don't think they know my story as much as definitely the people that have been with me. But that is a good point.
Because that's how I fell in love with Ronit, is Ronit, like, was hiring me, and I was like, "I don't know, because she was kinda trying to suss me out. She was trying to figure out what my interests were, and it was a very dynamic interview. I never had experienced anything like that, and so I was like, "Where are we taking this? Like, what are we talking about?" And she would just kept throwing me, like, a curveball after curveball, and then all of a sudden, she was like, "Well, let me tell you this about me," and then she told me her story, and that was, like, the moment I was sold, because I felt like most of the interview, you like, as somebody who's an interviewee, like, person is being interviewed, it feels like you are selling yourself to a company, but it was the moment that it clicked that Ronit had sold herself to me, and so that's what we did at Anna Maria Island, is that we had our clients tell their story. It's hard to do that. It's hard to be vulnerable and to be intentional with it, but, your story is amazing, and I think it would totally resonate with your team, anybody.
So true, Nicole. And by being vulnerable and telling the story of why I'm in this business, Nicole opened up and said, wow, Ronit, we have so much in common because there's my story. And so we found a lot of commonality just by sharing our story, how we got here, what's our vision, what we want out of life. So this interviewing process became to be sitting in an Uber and talking with a cup of coffee. It's just really is. And let me tell you, Nicole and I, we butt head at least once or twice a week. But last night I got a phone call from Nicole that totally inspired the shit out of me.
hmm.
Yeah, you did. It's been tough couple of weeks. The stories. We've all been nonstop, and sometimes you just like become so transactional, and you're not in the significant place. You forget. And so when we were data driven, Nicole said, we kind of deviate away from opening our meetings in such a fun way and in such a meaningful
Oh,
way.
yeah, I like that, yeah. Yeah, I agree, yeah.
And so last night, I think it was like 9 o'clock, I get a FaceTime call with Nicole calling us. I don't know if she already sipped her wine a little bit, but she got a puppy and from her neighbor, and we were just sharing just nothing about work, and it was all about personal, and it brought the human back into our world, and it was just such a treasure. You just those are the things that we forget, and I think that when we interview, we got to look at this. Does this person inspire you when you talk to them? Is your
This Yeah, do they light you up? Are they, because 'cause we're still learning and growing, isn't it that like the Amazon, theory of you always hire up? You hire someone who's better than you because want them to teach you something. They're gonna learn the Amazon way, right? Because they have to go through all the training, but at the end of the day, like, they have to come one step above you. So the company's always evolving and growing and bringing ideas from the outside in. Um, and that's one of their values, which I think is great.
Well, you know what? It's just like Nelson Mandela says, the greatest story in living lies not in never failing, but rising always.
Always rising, yeah. I was at a conference last Thursday, and, there was a panel speaker, and she had her story, and actually, Ronit, you had this, and you gifted this to me years ago, but, she said, "In the way the world is right now," she has her 5-minute gratitude journal, right? Every day before your feet hit the ground, just write 3 things you're grateful for, because human nature remembers the bad stuff or holds on to the bad stuff. But if you can write 3 things before your feet hit the ground and 3 things before you go to bed, your vibration changes. So just like you did the
Totally.
meeting this morning, last Friday, which I just think it's a universal thing. So Nicole picked up on it, you picked up on it, we embraced it this morning. On Friday, we added to our huddle sheet, one thing to be grateful for at home and at Glow. And I just feel like it sets the day. It sets the day in a sense of gratitude before you go out and touch people, before you go out and converse with people and your energies with theirs. It's so much nicer to come from a place of gratitude than a place of my alarm didn't go off and I got stuck in traffic and my coffee wasn't right. You know what I mean? Like, isn't it so much better to come to it with like, oh my God, the sun is shining, or oh my gosh, like my favorite client's showing up this morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's so true. It's so true. And you forget it. It's easy to forget. But I think what was that say by Ken Blanchard? None of us is smart as all of us. And like you said, you know, and I think we forget that. So if we can take that and look at our staff members, that they're truly investors. They're your investors. They're your investors, and they want return on their investment. And you're gonna go through hard times. They're gonna go through some hard times in the growth of the company, but at the same time, um, they want to have return on investment, that they progress, that they can grow. And if you are interviewing someone, the most important thing that I think for them to know, for this investor to know, that they are going to get return on their investment. And here's what it looks like, and here's the opportunity, and this is how you can grow. And if you write it all down and you put it in a map, in a blueprint, and you present it, I think that's your 90 days onboarding method is right there. This episode is sponsored by Vish, the smartest color management system for profitable salons. Vish tracks your color usage, reduce waste, and helps you charge accurately for all color services so you can protect your profit and grow with confidence. You know that we are all about profit and how we live a profitable life by, of course, by design. You can definitely make it so easily, and I've seen it, the actual results on the P&L. Vish makes it happen. Now join thousands of salons using Vish to scale smarter. Heads to getvish.com and see the difference for yourself. This episode is sponsored by Forest Salon Software, the all-in-one solution designed to help salon spa, med spa owners really deliver with confidence and really design and drive their company to success. Forest isn't just a booking system. It is your machine that will help you grow your company with smart marketing and real-time reporting, staff performance tracking, and world-class support. And I mean world-class support, because I wouldn't even recommend Forest if they didn't have a world class support. Now, so whether you're scaling to 7 figures or streamline your operation or need to fix things and tighten things up, Forest can help you make smarter decisions and deliver the luxury experience that your clients and your members really need. If you're ready for software that is all in and grows with you and support you for a truly team run company, just visit forest.com and discover why thousands of salons trust Forest. And mention Salon Cadence and you'll get a perk. Okay, let's go back to successes. Being a CEO, being a founder, being an entrepreneur, you own a few companies. Would you share your successes and your accomplishment with everyone here? Because it's not always been that, it's a process.
Oh
So
yeah.
share with us your successes, your 7-figure salon.
Yes.
And you are closed
We're
30%.
open 5 days a week. We're open
Yes.
Tuesday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and then we change to summer hours, which actually I better write that down because I have not put summer hours in the book. Um, and yeah, so that's Glow. About a little over 10 years ago, my building came up for sale, and the landlord came, and the building is actually 5 on left, 5 on right, so 2 separate buildings. He came to me and said, "You have the right for first refusal in your lease. Would you like to purchase the building?" And I was like, unprepared, wasn't ready for it. But at the same time, socked away some money and ended up buying the building with a business partner who had been next to me for many years. So Kristen and I purchased one half of the building. And so we have 5 retail units on a very busy street. And then we managed the other side of the building. And then at that time, we did a little creative financing. He held the note for us until the bank. So that was probably about 5 or 6 years later. So then I owned 10 retail units in like a strip mall. And then right around the same time, I started buying office buildings. So I have a commercial real estate company that has holdings with my one business partner. Mhm.
So you're literally when you diversified your income.
Yes.
Um, and at one point, knowing what you know today,
Mhm.
uh, advising to anyone about owning your own building, at what point would you recommend to own a building and why? Before you actually, and this is a more of a part A of the question,
Mhm.
okay? Because owning your building that you're in is not a second business, okay? But in a way, it it benefits your business, which is great. But then you invested your money into multiple properties, so that
Mhm.
is a second business.
Yes. Oh, at this point, yeah, there's a, you know,
So
manager and banking and all sorts of stuff that goes along.
right. So part one, the question is, what's the benefit of owning you know, uh, the business?
Well, I mean, I think initially, because with quite honesty, like other than knowing that we could make the mortgage with the rents that were coming in and make a little profit, it was really about just having a little bit more control over what would happen to one, my rent, right? Having a little control over that expense. And two, in the future, for when I want to sell it, that I can still continue to be the landlord. So it would potentially have, additional cash flow, or um, potentially condoizing all those units and then flipping them or changing them and leaving maybe the salon on the first floor and then apartment space or residential space above. So yeah, I mean, it has lots of different benefits to owning it.
Okay? And at one point, you got to the
And
point.
investing in it, right? If I'm gonna do all these improvements into the HVAC or the roof that was leaking,
Yeah,
you know, it only benefits me in the rents that are gonna come in the future or for the sale of the building or the business.
exactly. For the exit plan, it's really great and essential to have, but also for your tax benefits. And there's a lot of good benefits that you can get return on your investment. Owning the property itself. Now, going into now investing in a second business, which is, you own some properties, in Vermont, you own the apartment. So now it becomes a business. It's not no longer just owning a business, and you need to dedicate a lot of time to it, a lot of knowledge, a lot of reading, and so it's literally a second business. So, at what point do you recommend anyone? And I know the answer, and I just want you to obviously share that. Uh, Somebody who is wanting to get to own a second income should start thinking when they are in their very first business.
Okay. Well, if you're an entrepreneur like myself or you or probably a lot of people that are listening to this, there's a difference between making a calculated business decision to create a new business versus just, oh, I'm bored with what I'm doing. It's not doing what I want it to do. I can't control it anymore. And I'm sick of it. So let me go do something bright and shiny and something that feels good. Right. So because that can happen. And there's probably people listening to this. And I've even gone down that rabbit hole of research of like, oh my God, let me just go do something else. I'm going to keep Glow. I'm going to keep the real estate, but I just need something new. Right.
I'm
Because
so bored and I'm so sick of it, and I just want.
yeah, it's either that or something's driving me crazy or I just need something fresh and new. And typically that is when I like to buy something because again, like the potential in people, I see the potential even in buildings. So I can see something that somebody else might not want to do. And I can be like, it's going to cost me this. This is a construction loan. I got to get this, da, 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 da. And then I like going in and getting it to the point where, you know, somebody else either wants it or it looks great and I can rent it and that makes me feel good. That gives me a beginning, a middle, an end, and then income, right? So that's kind of where it feeds me, right? Like my soul or like my creative part. But to what you were speaking of, when do you know that you're ready for it? I mean, I think there's obviously a financial part to it, but you have to have enough systems in place, right? Like if my systems are off, like, if I don't pay my bills on a certain day, or if I don't check this on a certain day, like, I've just created these habits and these systems in my own personal life that supersede onto the habits in built-in systems in Glow, the built-in systems in the real estate that I drop into. As long as those are working and I'm doing my part, it is manageable and it's not super stressful, right? It's when the systems break down or the people. I mean, you know the saying, and I love it. You don't manage people, you manage systems. If the systems are working, then you get the desired result or the predictable result, right? Like, this much money gets transferred to here, and this goes here, and the bank gets paid here, and then, insurance company gets paid here, and la, 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 la. If all those systems are working, or even at work, like at the salon, front desk opening, if they plug in the radio and plug in the rooms and put on the coffee and if everybody's doing what they're supposed to do and then bringing the deposits on Wednesday and getting the change on Thursday, things move smoothly, right? So then when there is something like someone calling out or a bounce check or a broken pipe or knocking on wood, that none of those things happen. But when those things happen, it doesn't seem like sex and explosion because everything else is kind of like this, right? So in my mind, you're ready when you have a solid enough foundation, not only in your systems, your money, and then you can then build more things on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's important to touch the base on that for sure.
Yeah.
I think that when you look at your income statement too, if you gotta reach a certain amount of income that your salon provide,
Mhm.
before you start looking at any second investment.
Yeah. This isn't a hobby, right? I'm a CEO. You always say this, when you sign your letters. I don't know what it is about salon owners or this industry, president, CEO. We don't say it. We say we're owner. Like, well, we don't own a desk and we don't own a chair. Like, we own a business, right? And this isn't a hobby. So don't treat it like one because otherwise, just show up at somebody else's salon and check in, check out, and you'll probably make just as much money or more in some cases, right? Without all the heartache and headache. This is a business, and what you put into it, you get out of it. And, you're responsible for paying yourself, right? Would you ever expect to go work at, I don't know, the local insurance agency as an office manager and not get paid, or start a insurance agency and be the owner and not pay yourself? No, you'd immediately put yourself on a W-2 and make sure that everything coming in is going to pay you. I don't know why in this particular industry we don't feel that way all the time.
You know what? I think it's in many industries, not only beauty, because we consult on so. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's beauty industry as in not. I think it's everywhere. I mean, I see attorneys. I see anything that If you look at your business as a personal thing and you don't look at it as an investment, that's where the shift needs to happen.
Right, and that's why you can't have the 2 business accounts touching, right? Like, this isn't your personal piggy bank. This is the business and you pay yourself and you have your own bank account. And that's what you pay your mortgage and your car and you know what I mean? Like, the business has to support that, but it's a business, not a hobby.
100%.
And that, bring that full circle back to like when you're recruiting. I don't want people working for me as a job, right? I want this to be their career. A job is let me take my time card, check in, check out, how many hours, when can I leave, blah, 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 do the least, you know what I mean? Um, a career is how can I grow? How can I do better? How can I look better? How can I present better? How can I give my best today? Where do I see myself in 5 and 10 years? Do I want to, I challenged the girls just this past year. I have a lot of makeup artists, and I was like, do you want me to put your name on for New York Fashion Week? Well, too bad we don't know Italian. I'd love to go to Milan for Fashion Week. You know what I mean? Like, why not? Who's on board? Who wants to challenge themselves? Do you need to take classes? Do you want to volunteer just to help so you know what you're getting yourself into? This is your career.
Yeah, and it's all possible.
And it's
Everything.
exciting. It can be as exciting or as mellow as you want it to be, but either way, I can make it work for you. I just need to know what is it lighting you up.
Yeah. And and one of the things that I definitely want to just put it out there for anybody who's listening, it is a journey. It's a journey. Now, if you could, Shelley, take that all these years and put him in a box together,
Mhm.
okay? And you could tell Shelley 20 years ago, what are the three things to avoid? And what are the three things you absolutely should do to become a true CEO of your company? That means that the company is not relying on you financially, personally, and professionally.
Perfect. So I probably should have wrote this down, but
It's okay. We'll help you.
thank you. Um I would say the first thing is getting the right team, right? And trusting that it's working. And if it's not, really move quickly to get what you need. Someone once told me, and probably came too late in life, if someone's keeping you up more than 3 nights, right? If you've lost 3 nights worth of sleep over one person, then it's time to have that critical conversation and move on. And I've gone 30 nights, say, and not moved on, or even more. I would never I know. I would never do that again. And it's not because I personally don't like them. I always like personally, I'd go have a cup of coffee with them, but professionally, we're just not vibing and it needs to move on. And I need to, when I'm not at work, be able to focus on the things that I love, including my family and my hobbies and my friends. And if you're occupying that much room in my brain, then this isn't a right fit, right? So for the people that are listening, if you have that nagging feeling, then don't just go and let them go. You have to know what your laws are in the state and have all your ducks in the row. No impulsivity here, but at the end of the day, you do need to let them go, and you're probably doing them a favor as well as yourself. Okay, so that's one big one. Another one is making sure I was really good about operations manuals so that I could go away. Like if electricity goes out, you don't want your phone to ring. Like you need to have a manual that says, call so and so, this is their phone number. If there's a plumbing issue, call so and so, this is their number. If there is have the whole operations manual so that if someone came off the street, I could give them operations manual and they could follow it. And it might not be to to our
I,
standards.
you just want an
But we
S.
could do it. For everything. Everything. And that they to learn
Everything.
video. Everything's video.
Yeah.
Everything. So everything's hyperlinked, just like, the salon cadence stuff. It's not only electronic, printed, hyperlinked to videos. So if you don't want to read all of it, you can watch a, 45-second to 1 minute max video from how to do the laundry to how to change the toilet paper to how to wash the dishes to how to order something. You name it, it's all there. So I don't have to keep on taking my energy or my, teammates' energy to keep on rehiring or retraining people, right? Like watch the videos and then we're going to go over it, right? So you save time, energy, effort. So that would be a second thing, and that gives you also peace of mind. And then just getting those daily systems in place and just making them and working them and fine tuning them so they have a really well oiled machine.
And
So
we're talking about years in the making.
it is. And you know what? Coaching is huge. If I had some coaches early on, some better than others. I like accountability coaching. I like those action plans like that we have. It's like do this, this, and this. And those are forming habits, let it be the profit first, every, twice a month. That is a habit. And once you do it and you see it growing and you get the hit from it, you're not going to stop it. Right. Or if you pay your credit card every single Wednesday or whatever, and you don't have a bill at the end of the month, you're gonna get the hit of like, I'm debt free, right? So, you know what I mean? Like, those habits. So habits, no sleepless nights, habits and systems, no sleepless nights, and letting go quickly and don't lose sleep because it's not worth it. It's probably good for them. Um, so what was my second part of my question?
The second part is, what will you recommend to do? But you just actually nailed all of that together.
I
What
think I did because with
Yeah,
that, let's face it, it equals freedom,
yeah.
peace
Yes.
of mind, being able to take vacation. I'm not saying like I have two types of vacation, and I'm sure everybody on this call does. I have the vacation where I'm probably still working a little bit in the morning, checking my emails, setting up the day, or just poking in, calling in. And then I have unless the building's burning down, lose my number. Like, literally create an email and send it to me the morning that I'm coming back in. You know what I mean? Like, unless there's a 911, I am checked out, and everybody deserves that. And if you own a company and you don't give yourself that, then you need to make that a priority this year because everybody deserves that.
Cool. I love that. These are really, really valuable. This is so critical. Those things alone can save you years of agony.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would love it if anytime anybody before they opened up a business would work with someone to say, but I mean, Remy, you know this, and Nicole, you work with a lot of business owners, new and in the messy middle and after. Don't you feel like sometimes you don't hear the messages until you're really ready? Like someone could say all these things to you, but unless you're there, you don't really hear it.
But then it'll hit you and you'll be like, "Oh, I just had this most amazing original thought."
Like the thing that
The
comes in
people
my
are not
mind is like,
planting the seeds
like your
of
mother told you things or your
yes.
parents told you things when you were younger, and you're like, whatever. And now that you're older, you're like, why didn't I listen?
But I think they come up. Like, I think the things that my mom told me or the things that I've learned throughout my journey, um, it's been just me thinking that I've had original thought of being like, "Oh, you know what? I probably shouldn't do something that way." But really, I think the seed was planted. Like, I think I heard somebody say it and I was like, "Eh, yeah, whatever." And then later on, after learning what I needed to learn, then I can really absorb it. So I feel like I heard it, but I just didn't apply it. I think it takes
Yeah.
time to apply.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can totally relate to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I'm the kind of a person that I've always have been in the first row of any class, and I'm that type of a nerd. And I just want to hear. I just want to learn, 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 learn. And you know what? I'm one of those people who will implement, and good or bad. Like I've done
Oh, I'm with you. That's why I
implementations.
did the warning. I can't tell you how many seminars I left when I was sitting in the front row, probably with you, that I was like, ah, but I can't do this anymore. Everything's got to change.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and then you learn like after your people fear that you're coming back from these things, like what's going to change? What's going to happen? You're like, oh, don't worry. Nothing's going to change right now. I'm going to process. I've
Yeah.
learned. I've grown. I'm more mature now. Like I'm not going to rewrite the team of it
Important.
for like the 20th time, or I'm not going to change everybody's rooms to, disrupt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's always something new to learn and revisiting all of the things that you learn when you're at these events, it's so important, but it is also important not to overwhelm your team with too many things.
Yeah. I think someone used to call it, and Ronit, you remember this, seagulling, right? Like you come back and you'd be like, you have this like view, and all of a sudden you're like poop 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 on everybody or everything you've ever done and everything they've ever done, like seagulling over. I was like, I'm not gonna seagull. I promise I'm not gonna do that. But it's hard because you realize and you put a mirror up, right? And you wanna own that, like, wow, you didn't know it all and you did the best with the knowledge
Right.
that you had at the time that you had it. But now that you have this new piece of gold or this new nugget, you just wanna implement it because you just know it's gonna solve so much, but you still have to get your team and your people up to where you are and having that aha moment with you. Because if there's no buy-in, like you said at the beginning, they're your investors. Like, you have to listen to them, and you might think it's the best idea, but you also have to let them poke holes in it because they're gonna see it from very different ways, and you can then even learn and grow more from that nugget. So it's a pretty
And
great
Shelley does this a lot for Salon Cadence. She does. Like, you will hear a plan and you will ask informative, well thought out classes or questions just to be able to make sure that we've thought things through and bring a unique perspective to it, right? Because you're working one to one and one to many with
Yeah.
clients. And so if it's a new system or a new process, we often go to you to get your insight on it. And this is actually a perfect segue, Shelley, if you're ready for those fun rapid fire questions.
Give to me.
This is actually the perfect segue. This is my favorite part of the podcast. I'm going to start with, just because it feels right. What's your definition of success?
Um, Definition of success is love, freedom, happiness, um, and at the end of the day, like, truly having the time and energy to enjoy it with your family.
Love it. If you could have a billboard anywhere, what would it say?
The first thing that came to my mind is like, stop. No, um, no, but
Stop here.
yeah, stop here. If I had a billboard, I forget that exact quote, but something like, if you think you can do it, you can. If you think you can't, you can't.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good one. What's your superpower?
Hearing what's really being said and not necessarily what is being said. Like,
Wow. Peel the
Paying
layers.
attention. Yeah.
yeah, because like Ronit, like, you know, I could hear someone go on for 30 minutes, and at the end of the thing, I can summarize. I can say, so what I'm hearing is boom, boom, boom. Is this what you're saying? And then sometimes people don't even realize it. And other times they do, and they're like, oh my God, thank you for hearing that.
Yeah.
Nicole, you're good that way too.
Yeah, I think that's why we're in your corner, because it takes, like, at times that we, what do we call it? Like Ronitism, where Ronit will,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
she just the way that you are. I Nicole Bowden is actually my name. I got same our, but I love that. Shelley, I agree. I think when we're all together at an event, the three of us, we have such a fabulous time because we all are really in sync and in tune and aligned with each other, all of us. So Ronit gets us just as much as we get her, right? The last question that I have for you is, and this is general, this can apply to your professional life or your personal life, but what is your biggest failure and what did it teach you?
What is my biggest failure? Oh, I should have probably prepared for this one. I mean, there are a lot. So I don't know what my biggest is. So I would say that I was probably it was employee related, and I was very impulsive, which isn't typically me, but I guess I felt very hurt and betrayed, and instead of keeping my emotions in check, I just responded, and I was like, I can't see this person. And I've never done that before, and I've never done that since. To let someone go like that. Um so I think I kind of failed myself because I let myself down. I failed them because they probably did deserve more of a conversation, even though they really upset me. And that takes a lot. It takes a real lot to upset me to that point. Those of you that are, on this call know that it for me to do something like that. And it didn't feel, 48 hours afterwards, it felt really bad. You know what I mean? Like, I felt bad about that. So the failure in that is that I didn't follow typically my golden rule of sleeping on it. If I had just taken a breath and slept on it, I probably would have dealt with the situation different. But it did teach me later on that no matter what the situation is with a client, with a tenant, an employee, a friend, whatever, to give it a 24-hour rule. Don't react because you'll probably regret either what you said or what you did. And you could probably do it in a kinder or better way that makes other people feel good. And at the end of the day, or even you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a powerful lesson and it's just so true. So
Yeah. And it does shape you. It does make you think about many, situations where you feel like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I really want to. I probably should. And if I feel that same way tomorrow, then the way it comes out is going to be a little bit different, I mean, listen, I'm really blessed. I mean, you guys know, I mean, I have people that have been with me 10, 15, almost 20 years, and a lot of them. But there have been some that, probably were there again for a season or reason to teach me. The universe put that person in front of me for whatever reason. And, she ended up doing great. I mean, she owns her own salon and, she does her own thing. And that was probably what should have happened anyways. I just wish that it wasn't, you know, the fuel or the hatred towards me is probably what fueled it, but that's okay.
Well, we all make mistakes, and those are the ones that teach us. They're the best lessons. So I think those are great. So, yeah. Well, good. Here we are. This is another episode that we're just about to finish. And Shelley, being my best buddy, the rock beside me, the mentor that you are at Salon Cadence, the student that you were there with me, and all the adventures that we did together. It's just and more to come, and more to come. It's so great. But the greatest value is to give back. And for all of you fathers out there, all of you entrepreneurs out there, all of you investors in your company that you care so much, that you want to grow, you build your career. There's so many nuggets in this episode alone for you guys to listen to. And come and ask us a question. I promise you, the more you give us feedback, the more, subscribe to it. And the more you give us feedback, the more you tell us what you want to hear, the better we'll get with every episode of this podcast. And so this is for you to enjoy, to learn, and to continue giving back.
I love that.